This snake's last attempt to avoid getting eaten. My great uncle is the gangster from Home Alone who says Merry Christmas ya filthy animal. Bald eagle populations have recovered to the point where in some places, they are a common sight on private property, like this guy's porch. In 1969, when bulk Americans were still prevented from swimming alongside whites, Mr. Rogers decided to invite Officer Clemens to join him and cool his feet in a pool, breaking a well-known color barrier. Shirtception, my favorite gift every year from my brother. We are now at level 9. Leaflet dropped on Nagasaki before the nuke. How to survive falling down a waterfall, supposedly. How to survive a plunge from a waterfall. 1. Take a deep breath right before you go over the edge. 2. Position yourself so you go down feet first. 3. Wrap your arms over your head and press your nose into your elbow to help seal it from water. 4. Tense your muscles and press your legs or feet together. 5. Tightly close your eyes and mouth. 6. Swim away from the falls immediately, even before breaking the surface. Before and after leg lengthening. Sea foam flood today in Maine. I found a gator with his nose sticking out the ice. Kabul University professor tears apart his diplomas on live TV in Afghanistan. From today, I don't need these diplomas anymore, because this country is no place for an education. If my sister and my mother can't study, then I don't accept this education. The Arkadiko Bridge built between 1300 and 1190 BCE. The ages of the characters in the Fellowship of the Ring and their actors' ages. President of Ukraine meeting with the President of Poland versus Putin meeting with his own advisors. Lane noon happens twice a year in the tropics. The sun will be exactly overhead at a 90-degree angle, making a upright object have no shadow. This rock formation I found in Tennessee. Wooden church in Kizhi Island, Russia. Built without a single male 300 years ago. The employee gym at Yellowstone National Park. Different shades of light. Warm white, 3000K. Natural white, 4000K. Cool white, 6000K. A wild koala broke into this Australian family's home and was found on their Christmas tree. This movie studio swimming pool. Hidden message in street art. F of x equals 2 plus square root of negative x minus 2 squared plus 1. G of x equals 2 minus square root of negative x minus 2 squared plus 1. H of x equals 3x minus 3. I of x equals negative 3x plus 9. J of x equals 0.2x plus 1.7. Angry female gorillas protesting because the silverback was bulking the door, leaving them out in the cold. A tornado twisted this tree so hard it broke. This stunning photo of auroras in Norway took weeks of planning and 3 days to get the weather conditions just right. Q2 Aquarium has a flowchart illustrating the romantic relationships and breakups of their penguins. Aloha Airlines Flight 243, a plane with almost half of its ceiling torn apart could land with just one casualty. The grave of Edith and her husband J.R.R. Tolkien at Wolvercote Cemetery in Oxford. J.R.R. insisted on them being buried in a single grave. Pictured here is the shadow of an atom, the smallest object ever photographed. Global temperature since last ice age. Grocery store images from when people first went crazy shopping for Cupid. New cycling roundabout in Salford, UK. The Grinch from Whoville. The first verified supercentenarian in human history was Dutchman Geert Adriaans Boongert, 1788 to 1899. A Finnish photographer took rare images of this bear and wolf becoming friends. The shape of the head of a Tibetan fox. The Baltic Way. On the 23rd of August 1989, 2 million people joined their hands to form a human chain spanning 675.5 kilometers across the 3 Baltic states. The protest was against the Soviet occupation and to support the independence movements of the 3 states. Pell teaching President Gerald Ford how to juggle a football, 1975. Curious little orphan elephant at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. A Roman mosaic uncovered under the streets of Starigrad, on the island of Hvar, in Croatia, February 2022. World's largest revolver, the FIFA Ziliska 600 Nitro Express. Relaxing with manatees in my crazy Christmas pajamas. Maiden flight of Spengeret's prototype flying car X3. 3, 2, 1, go. This is my grandparents' 130-ish-year-old family Bible that we read the Christmas story out of every year. I built a Ferris wheel to hold my girlfriend's Christmas gifts. We were worried about the storm. 'Tis but a scratch. Population distribution in the US. The area between the 2 lines represents about a third of the land area and has only 9% of the total population, which is almost the same as is in New York City. A fragment of a 2,000-year-old broken jar, inscribed with a child's drawing. The Devil's Bridge, Gablenz, Germany. Curvature of the bridge is designed to be one half of a perfect circle, so that when the waters are still and the light is right, it creates the illusion of a complete stone circle. I got a piece of the moon for Christmas. Lunar meteorite. NWA 13974. This moon meteorite was found in Algeria, northwestern Africa in 2021. It is classified as a lunar feldspathic breccia. It was ejected from the moon by an asteroidal impact. I used my astro-modified DSLR to capture the Orion constellation over a frozen Derwent water in the Lake District, UK. In ancient Egypt, instead of police dogs, they would send an angry male baboon after you. A giant porcino weighing almost 5 kilograms was found near Arcachon, France. The engineering of rigs in Norway. When French biologist was conducting research in Antarctica, temperature dipped as low as -112 Fahrenheit. Food started turning into stone in a few minutes. 5 images. This is what Antarctic weather does to food. Different animal claws and how they differ in size. fighting a fire in freezing temperatures. In August 1939, the Louvre was officially closed for repairs, but during this time thousands of pieces of art were actually being packaged and evacuated in anticipation of France falling to Germany. The unofficial but long-running and well-funded tourism advertising campaign from Australia's Northern Territory, "See you in the NT," the top end different from the bottom end. From Japan, this Godzilla Christmas tree was designed with working atomic breath and glowing red eyes. I saw hundreds of these beautiful rare frost flowers for the first time in my life in Florida yesterday. This building covered in a foot of ice in Wisconsin. I modified a telescope to capture detailed photos of our sun. Here's a close crop from my most recent shot, with Earth added for scale. The sun is so big, it's hard to fully comprehend. The moon and Earth from Artemis 1. Piano designed for people confined to bed rest. UK, 1935. Extremely steep staircase to a mountain, China. Glass frogs become transparent while sleeping by hiding 90% of red blood cells in their mirror-coated liver, avoiding massive blood clot in the process. This discovery can lead to treatment of blood clots. Garfield over the years: 1978, 1984, 1988, 1992, 1996, 2000, 2003. Horse-drawn fire engine house, Singleton, Lancashire. Built in 1882. Manned by local volunteers. The event of a fire, the first job was to catch the horse grazing in a nearby field. Graffitis by Soviet soldiers are still visible on the roof of the Reichstag building, Berlin, Germany. What the tub looks like in the 20,008 Imperial Suite at the Palazzo Versace Resort in Dubai. Genetics caused this albino raccoon to look like a giant rat, side by side with normal raccoons. This Chinese typewriter in 1899 was designed with 4,000 characters. Washington State last night. Pretty cool looking light pillars phenomena. A group of galaxies called Step Hands Quintet was featured in the opening scene of the Christmas movie It's a Wonderful Life, 1946, where angels were speaking from. Left is from the movie, right is from the James Webb Space Telescope. A 15 metric ton meteorite crashed in Africa. Now 2 new minerals have been found in it. The Circuit Safari bus often drives around during practice sessions in the Japanese Super GT series. Fans can't get any closer than this. Below is a picture from the second Fuji Races practice session showing the Circuit Safari bus in action. The inner workings of the Avatar Navi animatronic in Disneyland. Source TechCrunch. Main fishing boat caught in a wave trough during yesterday's storm. Made it to port safely. I make origami sculptures. This one is folded from a square of paper. This comet was only discovered in March, but is brightening so rapidly it may be neat eye visible next month. I photographed it this morning from my backyard. Light reflection on branches creating portal effect. Ocean towing of a home for the Newfoundland Community Resettlement Program. An illustration from Ivory Coast given by my grandmother to my great uncle, made only of butterfly wings. Stapelia cactaceae, also known as a starfish cactus. Hyperrealist drawing by Young Sung Kim. Wings over the Rockies B-52 sporting festive lights. Longest literature word. Sanskrit word from Veridambika Piranaya Champu, which dates back to 16th century. It contains 195 Sanskrit letters or 428 letters in Roman transliteration. My snail eating an algae flake. Studio Ghibli vibes. The Santa Claus Run of Noel, Venice, Italy. 12,000 Palestinians fought against the Knees in World War II. Lake effect. Snow is when you live next to a lake and you get snow every time it gets cold and windy. The cold wind blows over the lake and makes the warm moist air turn into snow, blowing onto the land for hundreds of miles. Indigenous Amazon tribal circular longhouses from the Yanomami tribes, the fierce people, can be found on Google Maps. Some of these are even uncontacted still. The Portuguese man o' war is a siphonophore. It's made up of small organisms called zooids that have formed into a colony and have all identical genetics. Transparent glass frogs hide red blood cells in their livers and disappear at night. Photo by Jess Delia. Sleeping. Active. Not all SD cards fill out their case. A road in Vietnam collapsed 2 weeks after being put into use. The Murchison meteorite is a meteorite that fell in Australia in 1969, and the silicon carbide particles from the Murchison meteorite, which have been determined to be 7 billion years old, about 2.5 billion years older than the 4.54 billion year age of the Earth and the solar system. Every 7.5 years, many religious Jewish around the world complete a cycle of completing the over 2,000 double pages long Talmud. The tradition started in Poland in 1923. On January 1, 2020, over 90,000 American Jewish gathered at MetLife Stadium for a mass celebration of the occasion. This house is built on a ridge rock, and the trekking path goes under it. This is a Letters to God department of the Israeli Postal Service, where each year more than 1,000 letters are received, and once every few months opened, folded, and, in a ceremony overseen by a senior rabbi, squeezed into the cracks of the Western Wall, in Jerusalem's Old City. The real-life locomotive that inspired the Polar Express. The Pleiades, but you probably know it as Minnie Dipper. Alignment of the gods, a composite I made with my telescope and smartphone. Bullet found in my moose ribeye. The 1933 Double Eagle is one of the rarest and the most expensive coin ever sold. While 14 are known to exist, all but one remains privately owned. The Wheatsman specimen, which is believed to have been part of King Farouk's collection, hammered at $18.8 million at Sotheby's in June 2021. One leaflet that was dropped on Allied troops during the evacuation of Dunkirk. Baby pufferfish. The Etruscan shrew is one of the smallest mammals in the world by weight at 1.8 grams on average. Cuban migrant boat, Coco Plum Beach. Imam Samad Nokia phone which used as trigger for bomb explosion at Bali bombing 1. Pages from an early 18th century home remedy / recipe book, possibly from Cheshire, northwest England, and from a well-off household judging by some of the ingredients. The line outside of a Costco when everyone was panicking during the Cupid pandemic. The order of this Pantone children's book is yellow, orange, red, blue, green, purple. To avoid deafening themselves with their calls, many bats restrict the movement in their inner ear bones, called ossicles, by flexing the stapedius muscle while echolocating. We have these same bones and muscles in our ears, and they are similarly used to dampen our own voices when we speak. There's a newspaper prop that has been featured in dozens of movies and TV shows. The Olympic torch relay was invented by the Mies. The greater spotted cuckoo not only lays its eggs in other birds' nests, but it later pays Mayfair visits to make sure the eggs are cared for. If not, it attacks the surrogate mother's chicks and eggs, even breaking her legs. Skytyping was developed in 1946, which was 22 years before the first dot matrix printer. In some remote ponds in southern Oregon, cyanobacteria grow into green spheres called mare's eggs. There is no incident that Iron Maidens were invented in the Middle Ages or even used for culture. Instead, they were pieced together in the 18th century from several artifacts found in museums in order to create spectacular objects intended for commercial exhibition. Monaco has the highest life expectancy in the world at 89.52. Chad has the lowest at 49.81. Median age and life expectancy of the world. The word gymnasium comes from the Greek word gymnos, which literally means naked. Athletes competed need, a practice said to encourage aesthetic appreciation of the male body and a tribute to the gods. This famous painting by John Trumbull called Declaration of Independence doesn't actually depict the signing of the Declaration, but rather the presentation of the first draft to the President of Congress. Black lace weavers are dedicated mothers. In addition to guarding her eggs, she will lay a second clutch of infertile eggs for her babies to eat. A few days later, she will encourage her young sputterlings to consume her body. The world's primary feudal landowner is Queen Elizabeth II. She is queen of 32 countries, head of a commonwealth of 54 countries in which a quarter of the world's population lives, and legal owner of about 6.6 billion acres of land, 1/6 of the Earth's land surface.